I'm doing fantastically well. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, JR is loving this market. We keep having this conversation, but JR is in absolute heaven. So, again, please say hi in the chat. Tell us where you are watching from. We want to make sure things are interactive. We're talking to each other. So, again, say hi in the chat and let us know where you are watching from. So, JR is, I'm sure a lot of you guys know him from Momentum Express, but he's also the head of the new Sultans of Swing trading service. JR has been a trader since 2001. He's known for his momentum, finding huge winners on all time frames. He's traded for some of the biggest hedge funds in the world. He's graduated from Columbia University. I don't know how good you feel about that these days, JR, but JR has a very, very powerful brain. Let us know in the chat. Are you happy with your P&L? Like you could see the sad little polar bear wants to know, are you happy with your P&L? Type a yes or a no. So we're going to learn today how JR makes these insane predictions. Like, I don't know if you guys were watching before the FOMC, JR said Caterpillar is his number one play. It's gone from 441 to 545. The Bitcoin boom. He went bullish at 65K. Then he said it's going to 126. He missed by 1,000. So, JR, we will give you a break on that. JR was incorrect by 0.8%, I believe. He nailed gold at 2,400. He was
I think we got to 126,000, Michael.
No,
I think
no,
you
it
need
was
to
100.
check your chart, sir.
It was 125. We will fact check this and let everybody know what's going on. But close enough for government work.
Yes, sir.
Of course, JR nailed gold. Silver, not a lot of people talk about silver. He came out at 32. He said he loves silver. It went to 54. He said Nvidia is going to 100. 200 went to 195. Rambus, Seagate. It goes on and on. So JR is going to teach you the 5 dimensions of his strategy. He's going to teach you about Wendy's, about Wyckoff, how he finds these huge winners. And later on, we're going to talk about how you can get JR's swing trade. So, JR, I am going to pass control over to you.
Thank you, sir. By the way, Michael, just so we're clear, the all-time high in Bitcoin hit 126,270. So, for posterity, I hope you have good video editing skills because that $125,000 target shall not stand.
Okay, all right. People are telling me in the chat it is 126. I could have sworn I checked it. I think I screwed up, so I apologize. Okay, so JR.
Yes, sir.
This is the hilarious thing. Traders never forget when they got something right. I will shut up now. JR, what is going on with the triangle here?
What's going on with the triangle? Well, I'm a very old school trader. I was raised from the time I was a pup as a Wyckoff technician. I obey the Wyckoff price cycle and the laws of supply and demand. And this is the methodology we use for trading both intraday and swing. So we have a bottom-up approach where the first thing we really focus on is market structure. Market structure is, the market profile itself and the price action structures the markets develop throughout the cycle in terms of accumulation, markup, distribution, and markdown. And then price action is really important, right? I always tell everyone, forget so many indicators, okay? The ultimate indicator is price. Price tells you where the auction is at, what the supply and demand picture looks like, and where things are most likely going to go. Some of the world's most proficient traders, most successful traders, don't really look at a whole lot of indicators. What they're looking at is price. Where are the bids at? Where are the offers at? And what does the price look like in terms of that general structure and market cycle that we just discussed? And then we look for patterns within that structure, and we look at the order flow. Once we like a pattern within a price action segment within a structure, we look at the patterns the market is forming: bullish patterns, bearish patterns, reaccumulation patterns, etc. And we start to look at the order flow in the tape to verify the strength and enter our trades. Ultimately, tape reading is the last sort of magnifying glass to make sure we pass the smell test. So that's the general idea there. Am I doing the slides or are you, Michael? I can do the slides on my own. I got my big boy pants on. Very nice. So Wendy's, of course, the mascot of the accumulation distribution price cycle, where you have big operators in the market who accumulate early, create uptrends through supply and demand imbalances, and those are the early adopters. You have early adopters in the accumulation phase as well as the uptrend, and then you have your early majority, and then market typically tops out. Sometimes it pulls back and continues higher. Sometimes it tops out and reverses completely. If you were buying Microsoft in February or March of 2020, you are very familiar with the distribution cycle or the NASDAQ itself, right? And then you have a downtrend, and this continues on and on and on in the markets for the rest of time in a fractal manner, meaning it happens on the daily time frame, on the weekly time frame, on the monthly time frame, on the hourly time frame, and all the way down to the most minute time frame you could possibly trade. The importance for us as traders is to recognize the phases of the market we're in and try to align the time frames so that we're trading accumulation and markups for uptrends in both monthly, weekly, and daily timeframes, so as to really capture the most efficient and the highest amount of market participation. A lot of swing traders trade timeframes that may be much smaller than big hedge fund managers and so on. So we want to ride that wave. We want to ride that order flow, and to do so, we really have to make sure that we obey the importance of multiple timeframes. This is just a snapshot here of the Wyckoff logic, right? You have price, sentiment, time, and volume all working together to accumulate, to mark up, to distribute, and mark down, right? So what does that mean? It means that we recognize the different phases of the market and the different phases of whatever instrument we're trading to determine when you're going to go from an accumulation phase into a markup phase. And accumulation, why does accumulation go from accumulation to markup? Well, typically, right, price rises out of an accumulation because you run out of supply, meaning there are not enough shares to buy at the indicated price. And when you find a strong supply versus demand imbalance, it causes breakouts, it causes markups, it causes signs of strength and new trends forming. And so we like to be in either accumulation phases or what I call reaccumulation phases. So at the end of a big run, sometimes you'll see a stock wedge out or form a platform or form a base or form an inverse head and shoulders, right? And that's how we're going from structure into pattern. And we like to enter at the point where we have a clear demand to supply imbalance in order to capture that big momentum move. I'm typically what most people call a right side of the chart trader, meaning I like to buy stocks that already have a lot of momentum in order to buy them through the breakout, rebuy them as they go up, build big positions, and sell them for big gains. So that's typically the strategy. And just to conceptualize here, right? On the right side, you'll see a bit of a pyramid here. This is really important, right? Context. We always want to analyze the context that a particular issue or a particular stock is in, right? Are we in a bullish context? Are we in a bearish context? Are we in a neutral context? Then, say we figure out a stock, like say, for example, OKLO in the past 2 months was in a bullish reaccumulation context. And, through $60, we alerted that as a swing trade idea, right? Structurally, it was very tight. It had gone up and held higher lows. The price action confirmed. So we derived a roadmap from that context, structure, and price action in order to derive our ultimate bias. So in terms of the steps, the cognitive steps we go through is we go through, step one, context analysis, right? We identify the current context, and context is not just trend, right? It's trend, it's sentiment, it's market strength, it's multi-time frame analysis, right? And we perform a real-time analysis on that and analyze the variable, step two, and then identify the actionable price areas, right? The price areas where we feel like there's not going to be enough supply to meet demand and create a big move. So step four, we extrapolate those trade ideas based on scenarios, and finally we take action. That's what I call the procedural OODA loop, right? And so here you have in the next slide, you'll have, for example, a quick line chart of an accumulation on the left that leads to a recumulative structure distribution, a big markdown here when you hit a new pivot low on the right side of that distributive upthrust, a second redistributive upthrust, and finally a third distribution that leads to new lows, right? So you'll see that the circle here, it has actionable position, context analysis, real-time analysis, actionable price areas, and trade idea extrapolation. They all lead to that trading plan out of that bias that lead us to really take ideas with a whole lot of conviction. So I categorize trends by early trend, mid trend, and late trend, right? Typically what we like to do is enter either early or mid trend, okay? And sentiment is really important here, right? Like we traded both in the day trade room as well as the swing trade room, a lot of quantum names, a lot of the nuclear reactor names, right? And a lot of those we caught early trend, but sometimes you have an early trend, leg one that forms, and it forms a new reaccumulative structure, and we're not afraid to re-enter a mid trend. And I have a couple of examples of that to go ahead and capture that measured move off the second leg, right? I categorize the phases of the markets as phases 1 through E. This is very Wyckoffian, right? Typically, phase D is the phase out of a consolidation that has that initial sign of strength that I'm on the wrong side. That initial sign of strength that overpowers the overhead supply in a consolidation, takes you higher, comes back, retests, gives you price acceptance, and creates a trend, a strong markup or a trend. And that's phase E, and that's typically where we live as swing traders, and that's how we identify the trends. And I'm going to go ahead and just showcase some examples here. We're going to start with UNH. We call this, UNH we called out in our day trade room as a swing. Sometimes I got to throw my day traders a bone. Day traders are like drummers. They're spazzes. If you don't point them in the right direction, they're going to be all over the place. Trust me, I'm a day trader. I know. So UNH, we took in early September as it broke our buy zone through 309. And the reason I wanted to have this chart here is because it's a perfect example. Of the markets forming a reaccumulative right side. This is pattern wise, this resembles, or structurally, this resembles most likely an inverse head and shoulders, right? So you had a big markdown in July with a shakeout. I labeled it here, final shakeout, and then beyond that, we come in and in the first 2 weeks of August, we come into 314.42. We pull back, we tighten up a base, and then the pivot at 309 was the failed high on the prior day. We set a buy stop through there with an add through the pivot high off the gap at 314.42. And we set a target at 374.71 and a secondary target at 404, which is right near the 200-day moving average. And as you can see here, UNH popped explosively. And the reason it popped explosively was a mixture of sentiment, right? Warren Buffett had gotten into the name, but also all the shorts who were trapped were buying stock along with longs, who were breaking the highs off the pivot highs on the gap. And so that created a tremendous amount of buying pressure, and that's the kind of supply to demand imbalance that we look for. UNH continued to rise, formed a reaccumulative bull wedge, right? That's both pattern and structure, and then hit our target there around September 11th, I think, or September 10th, something like that. And we're continuing. This trade's still active. We're continuing to ride this channel, and we're looking for 386 and then potentially 404. So this is a prime example here of how we use both market structure and price action to really find those key inflection points in price where we feel demand is going to completely outstrip demand and send prices roaring higher. This is CNC, which we did alert in our room here. CNC is a trade we're still in. This is a fantastic trade. Right around August 13th, we hit a pivot high at 30.37. You'll notice the volume really wanes out here, but you start to put an equal low after equal low, and the price action around September 8th gets very, very tight. So we set up buy zone at 29.60 with an add at 30.17. The price gapped tremendously on the following day. We caught basically in 3 days a 20% move. We trimmed half on the climactic gap, and as the gap curled on the 24th, we added at 32.99 and hit our target at 38.46 after price acceptance there at 37.75. We're currently still on this trade, and we're looking for a secondary move now to $50. So this is a great example of how you can capture that great push as the shorts get squeezed, and price will no longer go any lower, and you see price action compress into a very tight range. There's a battle there. I like to call it a monkey knife fight as a joke, but really it is a battle between buyers and sellers. Shorts trying to take CNC back to lows, longs holding a steady bid there in CNC right under the pivot lows in September, and finally buyers outwitted sellers. They completely overpowered them, and you had that massive move in CNC, which had been battered due to news regarding the healthcare sector. This is Caterpillar. Why isn't this marked up? The green line is our buy zone right there in mid-September. There was a strong catalyst here, which is the big beautiful bill, as it's called in quotes, is going to attract a lot of manufacturing onto repatriated American factories. And so that, in combination with the fact that in a lower rate environment next year, we forecast that a lot of new home construction is going to be taking place. So we really liked that. Sorry, I'm on the wrong chart. There it is. We really liked the idea of a home construction and an infrastructure boom with infrastructure construction and factory, data center construction, etc. So we really liked as the W tightened up into that 441.50 pivot. We really liked the idea of Caterpillar to 450 and then 475. You can see Caterpillar has now formed a channel. It's pulling back a little bit. So I'm probably going to re-add on the first retest of the 21, and I'll be looking for a move to 574 and then potentially 620. The chart looks fantastic there. I'm a big fan of that chart, and I think we still have a lot of nice upside there. And an old Caterpillar, not a name people usually get super excited about. I'll grant you that. Like you don't brag to your friends at the bar that you traded Caterpillar if you're a day trader usually, but as a swing, it's acted phenomenally well. All right, so this is UMAC, Unusual Machines. UMAC was a base breakout. We added to that trade in mid to late September. We really liked on UMAC. You see that green line? That's basically a W bottom neckline break through 1191, and we were looking for 1440 first. That was a 20% gain, and then our secondary target was 1740, 1750. We took a quarter there for a 47% gain, and I was looking for a pullback and a move back to or through $20. Unfortunately, there was some negative news in this industry, and you see here on the October 15th, you had a big turnaround bar. So we trailed out for approximately a 20% profit. We had raised our stop to break even, so it was a free trade. But the idea here was capturing as much momentum in as little bit of time. And you can see here the enormous momentum you caught on the breakout there through 1191 as the stock advanced very, very quickly for a 47% gain or so. It was a fantastic move. Next, we have another example here of the stuff we typically do, the kind of shenanigans we're up to. HOND is a SPAC. We got sort of kramered on this one, but it was still a really, really nice move. Let's see here. 1 second. I'm just adjusting my screen. Sorry, guys. So HOND was a really, really nice swing. We had a really tight, narrow base with a buy point of 1230. The green line denotes the buy point there at 1230. I really liked HOND for a big move. I thought it had at least 40-50% move there, and we took some profits into $15, and ultimately took it off at 18.29. Jim Cramer came out, totally bashed the name. It looked like it was going to come in, so I just took profits up 51.75%, which I thought was pretty good. Later, it continued to go higher, and we, in the day trade room, we absolutely destroyed this one. But that was the swing trade on this one, and it was very profitable. We took size. It came in the first week of October, allowed us to add size nicely around the 15 handle, and we sold at 18.29 there. It was an absolutely gorgeous move. Next is CDTX. This one was great. A pleasure to trade. CDTX was in a reaccumulative context, meaning it was already in an uptrend. We bought it through as price action really narrowed, and CDTX hugged the 21-day. We bought it through 65.47 with targets at 85.25 and 90, and then 100. And we just sold each of our targets into strength. It was a beautiful trade. I think this was at least a 50% gainer, if I'm not mistaken. An absolutely beautiful move on CDTX. On this one, we were really looking at the sentiment around the biopharmaceutical sector, which has been very, very strong. So from 65.47, it was about a 52.5% gain into that $100 target. So not bad for a few days' work, right? We weren't in this trade for very long, as you can see. It was maybe 2 weeks here to the time we sold it. 13 trading days. So I'll take that with a cup of sugar. Next, MRUS. Maris NV had been a beautiful uptrend. In Maris, what I liked about Maris, and I like this a lot, was that it had base from June to August and a nice rounding bottom base. And then from August to September, it got very, very tight. You had a bunch of shakeouts of the 21 that failed to take it lower, and we decided that it was really worth a shot. MRUS was really worth a shot through 69.10, I believe, was the buy zone, and we took it long there. 72.75 was a first target to just finance our risk, and then we took it to 80, and then got lucky. We seemed to get lucky a lot, and sold it through 95 on the buyout. A absolutely blowout trade. We weren't in it for very long, about a week, and just a massive gain there in just a matter of days on MRUS. The stock was trading like it was a buyout candidate, and that certainly proved to be true. Next, we have a Canadian Imperial Bank. This was a gorgeous move. I really like the strength of the banks, specifically the Canadian banks in June and July. We saw a beautiful buy level through 68.45. And you can see a Canadian bank had been in an uptrend since April, and we were looking for that reaccumulative thrust higher through 68.45. We took half through 72, and then on CM, I think the chart's cut off there. Yeah, no, it's fine. Sorry, and then we reached a target there at $80.50 for a really nice chunky move there. We took it off because it was the measured move off the lows. It's about a 19% gainer, I believe. Just rinse and repeat, as they say, on Canadian Imperial Bank. AMSC, American Superconductor Corporation, another reaccumulative type of setup here. You had two legs higher, and I really, really liked the way AMSC was reconsolidating after its first leg. I thought to myself that AMSC was most likely going to break the prior pivot high off of a cup at 37.98, and we took it long into what was that? We took it long into the target was 75.50. No, sorry, I'm in the wrong chart. Sorry. Target was $53 and then $60. Just a gorgeous technical move there on AMSC. In a matter of weeks, we had about a 57% profit on that trade. Absolutely gorgeous. It's been the third quarter of this year with the strength of the market was absolutely amazing. Next is Black Sky Technologies. I think we bought this one in June, I believe. BKSY, quite a mover, very, very volatile name. We took it through 13.24 and sold the target there into 21.80. Now, this isn't a right side kind of a chart trade because obviously you can see here when we took the breakout, it had already come down quite a bit. But what I liked about it is that it come down, built a sort of a rounding bottom type of accumulation structure, and then started trading in a very nice, tight, narrow range with a shakeout in early May. And then finally, when it started to look like it was going to break through 13, we set a buy stop 13.24 and sold it into 21.98, $22. Sorry, 24.80. My bad. 24.80 for about a 65% gain. Beautiful, beautiful move. Here's some honorable mentions. And I add them here as honorable mentions because I alerted them. But for some reason, this is my Murphy's Law. I'm either away from my desk for a couple of hours, or I'm out for the day and I'm not watching the market, so I cancel the order. Back in on PAS, Pan American, we were predicting a very strong secondary move in silver going into late July, August. So we alerted 29.66 as a buy zone, and you can see here it broke out with massive volume. Once it hit price acceptance over 30.80, There was no stopping this thing, and it hit. A bunch of our traders took this one. A very juicy 34% move in about 3 weeks. It was absolutely gorgeous. This is a KGC. Another one I alerted in the room. A lot of our traders took this one. Buy zone 1604. Hit targets at 2167 and 24. Just obviously, we pay a lot of attention to the sector strength, right? We try to figure out what sectors are really hot and performing. This has been a very narrative-driven market for the past year, and it hit targets 1 and 2. $24 was hit in mid-September for a 51.6% gain on that move. And finally, Oklo. This one was hot to trot. Now, I have to say I made a small fortune day trading this one for the past 2 months. However, I had gotten up from my desk. I'm never going to remember. I'm never going to forget this breakout. It just hurts my soul. But this is another honorable mention that I missed the original 77 break, and I just day traded it for 2 months. It was great for my P&L, but I canceled my buy stop order because I was away from my desk, and it went to 77. You had an added 97, and it hit our $131 target in under 2 weeks, I believe, for a massive gain there. It was about 69% gain. One of my co-moderators, Michael, I think had over 200% gain on this trade. Absolute monster trade for him, and I know a lot of people took it with him. So it's been a crazy year. It's been absolutely wild to see this kind of momentum in the markets. And we've built a room where our traders not only get to experience a sort of a diary-like experience of a trader, where we try to put in as much detail about what we're doing with the trade. We post the charts for the trade, entries, exits, stops, of course, and then do video chart roundups of the trade. So it's a very interactive experience, and it's been very profitable for a lot of our members, of course. Back to you, Michael.
Yes, back to me. Okay, so JR, just how much are you enjoying this market? So I'll be honest, I have a lot of conversation with traders that are not having a great time. So how are you finding it these days?
My day trading account has exploded to surreal levels. The swing trades in the third quarter were incredible. This third quarter, things have gotten a little bit more wobbly, and so we're focusing on the sectors now that are showing a little bit of strength, primarily XLV type of names. So we went long a bunch of biotechs today. I'm loving this market. The swing trading's gotten a little bit tougher, but I think that's going to be picking up. As soon as November starts and the systematic buying starts, I see this market going a lot higher. So I'm pumped, and I think we're going to have an incredible fourth quarter in the room.
Okay, all right. So we want to talk about now how you can get all of JR's swing trade ideas, plus even more ideas from his co-leaders, TG and TDV. Now, we're doing a whole bunch of new things we have never, ever done before at T3. So T3's been around forever, since Moses wore short pants. But for the first time ever, we have a swing trading VTF, and it's called Sultans of Swing Trading. JR, why is it called Sultans of Swing Trading? I feel like I should know the answer to this question.
Because I'm a Dire Straits fan, and there's a very famous song called The Sultans of Swing. I thought it was appropriate.
And Mark Knopfler, perhaps the most underrated guitarist of all time. He's beloved, but I still think he's underrated. Okay, so this is the first swing trading VTF we've ever had, because the whole idea is we want to get you JR's A+ ideas in minutes a day. So if you don't want to be in a room all day, you don't have to be. So everything is delivered either in the room and you get it through push notifications on your computer or phone, which is faster than email or text. Yes, it is faster than email or text messages. So it's for you if If you want to build wealth with less stress in less time, if you want big winners over multi-day to multi-month timeframes, if you want clear entry and exit instructions with no guessing or other BS. Now, I know JR can sure talk up a storm, and he's always throwing off metaphors and analogies, but in the room, he is hyper specific about what to do. So I'm going to go through some of these examples. Some of these you've seen. XCL is the current one, so you could see very simple instructions. Long XCL through 74.25. It hit 83. JR thinks it's going to 90. CNC, another one. 19% winner so far, still going strong. It's like, again, very, very simple. Long CNC 29.61. So you can read that in 5 seconds and go place your order. Hond, I don't know where JR finds this garbage, but it went up 45%. If you would have told me that even with all this stuff going on in 2025, that you can make money in a SPAC, I wouldn't believe it. This is the garbage inside the garbage. Path, this is another one that was exited recently. Not everything is 10 million % winner. It started looking shaky, exited, took a 17% gain. Better than nothing. CDTX, he went over this before. Again, triggered long through 65.94. Then the exit was at 100. A-Lab, this was one of the biggest AI names of 2025. 115 up to the exit at 176. CRDO, another one, went up 60% in a straight line because JR keeps finding these wild stocks in wild sectors that everybody is afraid of. And I think that that's an important thing to put out there. A lot of people are terrified to touch these stocks, but JR gives you the entries, the exit, the risk management plan, everything you need to participate. Like, if you want hand-holding, if you want somebody to blame, sorry, JR, I have to do that to you. JR is your guy. So this is how it works. So first thing is JR shares the video watch list every Sunday night. You can watch it live or you can get the recording. So he's going over all the names he's looking at for the week. So those are all of the potential setups. Again, you can watch it live or you can watch the recording. So 1 to 3 new ideas per day are pushed to your computer or your mobile device. Like you can see the message in the room. This was one of the original Caterpillar messages. Long cat at 448.06, targets 576 and 620, stop 400. And again, these alerts go straight to your computer or your mobile device instantly. So if you don't want to sit in the room, you do not have to. You can be in the room if you want, but you don't have to be. And of course, there's the update alerts when it's time to take profits or exit. Again, no need to sit in the room. For example, with Cat, trimming into Powell rally into 527 area, then trimmed more into 531. That was, Powell's last party, and Cat was going crazy. So JR is giving you the clear instructions that it's time to trim. Number 4, there's daily position summary. So every day after the close, JR is saying these are all the current swing ideas. This is how they're doing. And you could see on the screen, the type's a little small, but you could see Cat, CNC, XCL, CCJ. So somebody just said, yeah, there are losers. CCJ was stopped out at 84, I believe. Little loser. They happen in every service. And of course, there's more ideas from our friends TG and TDV. So you can see how everything is doing. Also, and again, this is optional. You can chat with the community. So if you want to talk about trading, there are people chatting in the room all the time. So if you want to talk about what's going on, if there's earnings reports, if there's Powell, if there's economic data, you can jump in the room and talk about everything. And it's great because it's a supportive community of knowledgeable people. It's not just a bunch of idiots, yapping at each other on Reddit or inside a Discord server. So we have a special deal only for webinar viewers. JR, this is a serious webinar. Please stop laughing. Okay, so Sultans is normally $4.99 per quarter. You can start today for $247 for 3 months. There's no obligation. You can cancel anytime. Again, the regular price is $4.99, and you can start for $247 for 3 months. But should we add a bonus? Yes or no? The friendly hippo wants to know. Yes or no? Should we add a $330 value bonus? And again, this is something we have never, ever, ever, ever offered before in the history of T3. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Until I get 5,000 yeses, nothing happens. Okay, we're getting 11s. We're getting yeses. Okay, perfect, guys. Okay. All right. So we're going to give you also 3 months of access to Koyfin, which is our favorite swing trade analysis software. We struck up a special deal with them, so you can get 3 months for free. It's a $330 value. JR uses it. I use it myself. So just so you know, we're not BSing. T3 Live pays for this software. You're getting it for free. We pay for it. This is a real email I sent saying, let's get an account with Koyfin. And we've been still using it over 2 years later, and JR just started using it. So we love it because it's like getting the best parts of a Bloomberg without paying $32,000 a year. And yes, Bloomberg is $32,000 a year for the first seat, and then it's like $28,000 after that. But yeah, Bloomberg is $32,000 a year. We love this just as much. So we use it every day for screening, charts, watch lists, analysis. And again, T3 Live pays full price, but you get 3 months free. And if you want to buy it later on, you save 20%. So after you take this deal, you will get an email with sign-up instructions within 24 hours. Again, within 24 hours, you will get an email with sign-up instructions if you take this deal. So again, $499 value for the 3 months of Sultans, $330 value for 3 months of Koyfin. It's an $829 total value, and it's $247 for you today. You save 71%. T3live.com/now, T3live.com/now, because now is the time. If you want to get ideas, if you want to use the same software JR uses, this is the place to be. Now, Charles is asking for a free bonus lunch with JR. We're going to work on that. We're going to see what we can do. We can fly.
Is Charles paying?
I will speak to Charles later on, and we will figure this out one way or another. But again, we seal the deal. Go to T3live.com/now. Okay, so JR, with your swing trading, like, are you looking at fundamentals or are you strictly looking at technicals?
I'm looking at three important things: sector strength, sentiment, and technicals. This is a market that's completely narrative driven. A lot of these fundamentals don't make sense, but sentiment always makes sense, and sector strength always makes sense. So I'm looking at those three things.
Okay, is that why you think a lot of people are having trouble right now? They're just not grasping the narrative?
Correct. They're not understanding the narrative, and they're saying SNDK is overvalued. I got to short it here at 150, and they were saying I got to short it at 120, and they were saying I got to short it at 80. You're going to get run over by a steamroller because the sentiment is too strong, the tape is too strong, the sector is too strong. And to understand the fundamentals, the storage industry is really complex. These guys are backfilled with orders until 2031, and a lot of people fail to understand what that's going to mean to non-volatile RAM pricing. So I think it's a mixture of, a lot of traders like to think they're right, and they like to look at the fundamentals and say this is right or wrong. The tape doesn't care about fundamentals. It doesn't care about what you think. The tape, as Richard Wyckoff used to say, the tape is a tyrant. Okay, price is truth, as Al Brooks always says. The only thing that really matters is what price is doing, and the chart is a snapshot of supply and demand.
Okay. All right, guys, again, T3live.com/now. And we have Brian and Judith have signed up so far. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So Charles is asking, does rate stay the same? So Charles, it renews at $4.99 a quarter. If you want an annual, email Amber at T3live.com. I'm putting her email in the chat, and she can help you out. But it renews at $4.99 per quarter. And again, you can cancel at any time. Zero obligation, zero hassle. We don't make you call us or jump through hoops. If you want to cancel, just send us an email and it's done. But again, you get it for 3 months, and you can put JR to the test. Okay, so Bruce is asking, so JR, so what technicals do you look at?
As far as technicals, in terms of technical analysis, I think volume and RSI are really important. I like to trade things that are above the 21-day moving average, above the 30-week moving average. I look at a lot of order flow and tape, and I use the market profile itself, the profile of volume at price versus volume at time. I'm a big Stoudemire fan. I'm a big Dalton fan, so I use market profile and I use also the volume profile to get a clear picture of the supply demand picture. Um, so those are the things I really focus on. But primarily, it's all about sentiment and price ultimately.
Okay, and I want to thank Hans and Mario for also signing up. Can't wait to see you guys in the room tomorrow. Okay, so JR, do you ever trade any mega cap tech stocks? Because so you've been going through in this presentation a lot of biotechs, the nuclear names, the SPAC, quantum, all the funky stuff. Do you ever trade any of like the big caps?
All the time, all the time. We're known for swinging Tesla off the lows in 2023 at the very lows and catching a 100-point plus move. We called Apple long in the room at $210. No, $110. What was it?
Okay, and I'll thank George and
210.
Rod. 210? Not bad. And thank you to George and Rodney for signing up. So 6 people so far jumped in. So, okay. JR, what is the fun question from our friend Bruce? What is your favorite trading book?
Profiting from Bull and Bear Markets by Mr. Stan Weinstein, the original rock and roller of swing trading.
Is he? Are you the? Does that
I think
make
he's
you
one of
the
the OGs, man.
I've seen his books. He had those like really great 70s like Anchorman type. I've never read a Stan Weinstein book, but I guess I have to. So
He's Mark Minervini's personal hero, and he's certainly one of mine. So
okay,
Trade's About to Happen by David Weiss is also great.
Okay. Scott is asking, I missed the first 45 minutes. Will there be a replay? Yes. We will send you the replay like right after this event is over. Also, if you're watching on social media, if you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, email amber@t3live.com, amber@t3live.com, and she will get you squared away. Okay, so I want to go through some feedback from JR students. So Mark from Scotland said, Sultans has definitely improved my returns. Best service I've used. Bill from Colorado said, I love the service. I am much more patient. The results speak for themselves. Joey from Tennessee said, JR is probably the best trading coach / teacher I've ever seen. The amount of knowledge he has is both intimidating and exhilarating. Not bad. Ricardo says, I have had exceptional results, far exceeded my expectations. Derek said, JR helped me reduce my habit of going cowboy with impulse trades. Jimmy from Canada said, I'm learning to wait for the trade to become actionable. He's getting more selective. Okay, Hans, he's saying, do you also inform when to sell a position? Yes. JR is always, every position gets closed out. So JR has a complete game plan up front. And when it's time to get out, he will tell you when to get out. Harry from Florida says, I've learned to see charts as a merchant who wants things on sale or decides when to buy premium and sell higher. Ali from Washington, JR has given me opportunities to understand the market structure and buy signals. Lorenzo says, help me to slow down on triggering my trades. He says, I trade less and hold my winners now. So if you have trouble holding onto your winners, this is an awesome service for you. And again, t3live.com/now. Jack from Michigan, great source for ideas to take some longer trades. Larry from Connecticut says their ideas and analysis are very helpful. They really care about the member's success and our understanding of the process. Again, seal your deal, t3live.com/now, t3live.com/now. And if you have any questions, email amber@t3live and make sure you put JR sent me in the subject line. Again, email amber@t3live.com and put JR sent me in the subject line. So JR, here's a fun question I've never gotten on a webinar in all my decades. Do you use dark pool data? I don't know. Does dark pool data even exist?
Yeah. Uh, yes, I look at dark pool data. It doesn't really affect what we're doing so much, but yes, I take a look at it.
Okay, and I want to thank, I'm hoping I get this name right, Kalawole, David, and John. So thank you guys for joining. We have 11 people signed up already. This is awesome. Okay, Rod is saying, will BMO Investor Line be good enough of a trading platform to work from? So JR is giving very, very simple instructions. So if you can buy and sell stocks, I am sure it is fine. And Marshall, you're telling me living in Australia, time difference is a challenge. So if you're trading U.S. stocks, I guess that makes the difference because he's, JR's trading U.S. stocks.
I'll say this. I'd say 70 to 80% of our ideas are posted Sunday nights with entries, targets, and exits. So, you could literally set your orders while you're sleeping, if that's your inclination.
Okay. Now, our friend Scoop is saying, I'm in Momentum Express, been holding off on the swing service, but darn it, I'm in. Can you believe Scoop has been a doubter? Terrible. No appreciation.
I'm gonna have to pull Scoop aside and have a little chat.
This is a clear-cut example of moral turpitude. I mean, Scoop is going to be in big trouble. Okay. I don't even know what this means. I assume this is some weird Momentum Express joke. Does this room have a dedicated coxswain? Is this some kind of like naval, sailor ship reference?
My pet name for TDV, one of our moderators, is the Canadian coxswain. The coxswain is a person at the back of a rowboat yelling at the rowers. He keeps the BTFs together. He's good. Keeps people on. By the way, I can't speak highly enough of my co-moderators. They're both excellent traders. You're getting 1 to 3 trade ideas from me usually daily, but you can probably triple that. I could safely say there's a lot of trade ideas floating out there every day, and they're excellent traders. Really good stuff.
And JR, Canadians are welcome in this room. That's right, correct?
Nobody's perfect. Come on.
I'm half Canadian, so I'm allowed to say that. Okay, what time do I need to be asleep to wake up when JR does?
I'm not a good example, man. I get 3 hours of sleep a night if I'm lucky. I'm like an old man.
Why don't you get? What do we have to do, JR, to get you to get a little more sleep?
It's a workaholic thing, man. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, we have this. We have this bizarre ongoing challenge with JR. We're trying to get him to work less. So far, JR is winning that battle. We haven't had many successes.
We keep on starting new services.
Okay, all right. Our good friend Hans. Now, I know Hans joined already, so Hans is one of the special 11 so far. But can this be done with options trading, JR?
Yes. So I believe the vast majority of TDV's trades. TDV is one of my co-moderators, excellent trader. The vast majority of the stuff he does is in options. You just need to make sure to pick the right strike. I usually advise people to choose deep in the money options and understand your delta so you could properly assimilate the targets and stops relative to the underlying. Does that make sense, Hans? So that's the general idea there.
Yeah, and a lot of people, so most of our customer base is trading options. So it's not rocket science to buy calls a month or 2 months out on an idea JR likes, because if you're looking to make money in options, you need an underlying idea in the first place. So guys, again, t3live.com/now. We have a whole bunch of people signing up already. t3live.com/now. What other questions do you have for JR? And you can bring out the tough ones.
Whatever you want to know. I draw the line at boxers or briefs. That's a little too private.
That seems I don't know, that seems a little tame these days. Okay, so are you ever taking any trades for earnings in the service, like hypothetically, like Nvidia is going to be rolling around in a month or so. Like, would you ever be buying Nvidia into earnings?
I don't buy. So my typical rule is that if I'm up 20 to 25% on a name, and I have a fraction of the original position, and I'm bullish into earnings, I'll let it run. And like, for example, A Lab was at 76 going into earnings. We held it through earnings and it exploded higher. Same thing with like CRDO. So I'll hold through earnings. This is not an earnings trading service, meaning we're not buying into earnings. I don't like to, throw the dice. It seems a little sketchy to me, but if I'm up well in a position, my risk is financed. It's been a profitable trade. I'm up 20, 25%. Yeah, I'll hold through earnings if I'm bullish on the name, and it's worked out very, very well for us.
Okay. Do you ever dollar cost average if a trade goes against you?
I add on pullbacks. Sometimes the pullback will be below my entry, but the trade isn't broken. The stock is acting well, and the stock isn't acting well. And if the stock isn't acting well, I won't dollar cost average. This is the most damaging saying in all of day trading and swing trading is don't frown, average down. Trust me, if you make averaging down your motif for getting out of trades, that always ends in misery. However, say we buy a breakout level and it goes a little below our entry, but it's holding up well. It's putting in a lot of bottoming tails. The order flow looks good. Yes, I will add below my entry because the trade hasn't broken. And I see that as an opportunity to build a position. So I wouldn't say that I dollar cost average mechanistically. I would say that I add to positions that are still working if they haven't failed completely.
Okay, now JR, yeah, okay. So you talked about how like this year has been such a narrative driven year. Now I feel like I'm always a step behind. Like I look and I see there's a whole bunch of heavily shorted biotech stocks going through the roof, or nuclear stocks are going wild, or whatever it is. How do you keep track of which narratives are dominating?
Well, I live and breathe the markets. I'm up at 5:30, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning every day. I read news at 6. We're already trading the pre-market in the Momentum Express room. By 8 o'clock, I'm done. Usually done with my target goal for the day, and I'm preparing for the open at 9:30. It's the market is my life. It's what I do. So it's very easy with a simple chart scan to see what's moving. Also in Momentum Express, one of our expertises is news flow. So we're really, really attuned with the news flow, with what's happening with sector strength, et cetera. So, we do all of that work so you don't have to. You know what I mean? Our members are always know what's going on. They get a morning briefing in Momentum Express, and they get a very keen understanding on Sunday nights as to what our overall market direction is, and what sectors we feel are strong, and what stories, what narratives are picking up.
Okay, all right. So our friend Raj is asking, what is Koyfin? So I'm going to pull it up on the screen just so you guys can see what it is. So basically, it is like Bloomberg without all the crazy expense. So it has like an amazing screener. Like just for an example, I picked out like heavily shorted biotech stocks. There's charting of everything you can imagine, where you can put fundamentals on the chart. Like as an example, I pulled up NVIDIA. We have the RSI, the PE. You could put a million things up on the screen. There's things like earnings history, so I can look at like every single report they've ever had, pretty much. Just endless fundamental and technical information on stocks. So JR, like I know you just started using Koyfin not too long ago. So how have you been liking it?
I love it. It's for fundamental data. It's a really good tool. When I was trading institutionally, I used Bloomberg. It's much easier to use. Also the thing I like about it is it lets you plot a lot of fundamental points. And like for example, I tweeted yesterday talking about how Tesla's net income was three times what it is today in 2021, and its price to earnings ratio was 100, and now its net income is about a third, and its forward PE has doubled, right? So I was able to quickly locate all of that in Koyfin, and you can plot it if you want. It's a very useful tool. I really like it. It's obviously more directed toward equity trading than anything else. Doesn't go as deep into commodities and bond markets as Bloomberg does, but it's a really great tool, and it's inexpensive.
Yeah, and again, guys, you get 3 months absolutely free. So again, this deal is only for webinar viewers. You get 3 months of Sultans of swing trading. That's a $499 value. You get 3 months of Koyfin. So you have 3 months to play with the software. It's an $829 total value. We have never offered this before, and it's $247 for you today. So that's 3 months of stock ideas from JR and 3 months of the software. Go to t3live.com/Koyfin, t3live/Koyfin. And again, if you have any questions, email amber@t3live.com, amber@t3live.com, and make sure you put JR send me in the subject line. This way, Amber knows that you are looking for this deal or you have questions related to this offer. Now, Gil, what do you mean by do you have to be locked in? Like, I want to answer your question, Gil. I just want to make sure I understand what you're talking about. But again, guys, go to t3live.com/now, t3live.com/now. And Gil, if you mean there's any obligation, yes. So Gil, it rebills every 3 months, but you can cancel at any time. So if you don't want to pay any more money, you can cancel it tomorrow if you want, and you won't be charged anymore. But if you buy today, you get charged $247, and then you can cancel at any time, and you avoid any future payments. But t3live.com/now. So Eric is saying, I've been associated with many, many room leaders over the years. JR is #1 in my book, Great Blend of Trade Ideas, teaching, including trade planning, execution, management. Highly recommend. I could not put it better myself. And again, guys,
Thanks,
T3
Eric.
Live. Isn't Eric a nice guy? t3live.com/now. t3live.com/now. So if you have any questions, guys, if you have any more questions, get them in right now because JR needs to go and eat his big steak. I can kind of tell by the look on his face. So JR, thank you very, 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 very much for joining me on I know it's a busy earnings night. So I appreciate you joining me, and everybody who joined the service, thank you very much. Amber will email you guys the webinar replay. So everybody have a perfect night. Thank you, JR.
Thank you, guys. Take care, everybody.